What's up guys, my name is Brielle. If you have never seen my face before, welcome to my channel. Today we are on the self-improvement grind because we are talking about goals and more specifically how to actually follow through with them. I'm also going to be doing my makeup while we talk about this, which is why you are currently witnessing my bare face. This is I feel like a universal or very close to universal struggle that I feel like a lot of people have. It's almost the standard more so than like actually finishing things is, especially when it comes to like hobbies, passion projects, like big, scary, ambitious goals. It's sort of accepted by our culture and joked about. Oh, how many times have you said you were gonna learn an instrument, or bought a pair of roller skates at a garage sale, or like, you know, bought a box of paints and now they just sit in your house and don't get used. It's so ingrained in our culture at this point. But if you have big, meaningful things that you want to do, following through is essential. It's the only way that you make any progress on goals. And if you're like striving to change your life, it is so important that when you're doing all this goal setting and, you know, thinking about what you want out of your existence, that you're actually able to take action and make it happen instead of just staying in the dreamy, you know, planning stage, which I feel like a lot of us just stay in forever. The first thing that I want to stress that I think is the biggest thing is that commitment is essential. Making bold statements about your goals instead of just vaguely saying, oh, I want to try this, or at some point I want to do this. Like committing, being like, this is something that I'm actively doing until it works. You need to like make a decision that you're going to pursue a goal rather than talking about it in like vague, future-oriented terms. It needs to be active, it needs to be present, it needs to be, this is something that I am doing and I'm going to stick with it until it works, until I get good, until I see the results that I'm craving, etc. No matter what, no matter how long it takes. Once you make that commitment, it almost feels like a weight is lifted off your shoulders because it's no longer this back and forth in your brain of like, oh, I should go for it. Oh, these are reasons why I can't go for it yet, blah, 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 blah. You eliminate that because it's just like, okay, now I'm all in and I don't really have a choice, and you're taking the choice out of your hands. Once you do commit to a certain goal or a certain set of goals, you need to make non-negotiables for your daily routine. Things that you are going to do every day or every week, regardless of circumstance or what inconvenience it causes. If you think about it, you know, humans already do this, but we do it with the wrong things. Think about school, think about work, right? Not that I'm saying you should not do your homework, do your homework. If we have an assignment due tomorrow at 7 a.m., we'll stay up all fucking night to get that assignment done. We will not get any sleep. We will chug caffeine at 4 o'clock in the morning. We will basically put the rest of our life on pause just because we have an obligation to finish that assignment, right? Why do we do that with school or work? Why are we so quick to do that for the things that we're obligated for, but for the things that we're passionate about or things that are huge personal goals to us, the things that matter the most to us in life, we never have that same level of seriousness or commitment. We never make it as non-negotiable as we make, you know, obligations that we have to other people, like professors or bosses. As soon as you get busy, you should not be throwing out your goals first. You shouldn't say, oh, I have a lot of work to do today, so I'm not gonna exercise, if exercising every day or getting fit is like your big goal at the moment, you know what I mean? It should not be the first thing to go right out the window. And it comes down to prioritization and also self-respect of what you want being important and you recognizing it as such. Now, the key to this is you can't be trying to form 20 new habits or pursue an obsessive amount of goals and expect yourself to make them all non-negotiables in your routine when you just don't have that level of free time. Which is why I think being specific about your goals and being focused and intentional about what goals you're setting and taking seriously is so important. Which sort of brings me to my next point of setting less goals in general. It seems sort of counterintuitive when we're trying to talk about, improving your life, getting shit done, whatever, like making changes. But if you are focusing on too many different goals at the same time, you are bound to fail on all of them. And then you're just going to prove to yourself basically that you're not capable of following through, which is the worst thing that you could do when you're trying to make a habit of finishing what you start. So it's so important that you focus in on a couple central goals and sort of make them keystone habits that you can build off of later, but that are like the most essential. Something else that's important to note is that it's going to get easier and easier to set goals and complete them as you create a track record of follow-throughs. Basically, you need to make a habit of following through and build up the evidence that you are the type of person who is capable of following through. Take one goal, two goals, they can even be small things like, I'm gonna do this for a week, I'm gonna do this for a month. It can be small if you need to start small to just show yourself you're capable of doing it. But like, prove to yourself that you're capable of being consistent. Right now, chances are, if you're watching this, your track record doesn't look too hot. Majority of your life, you've proven to yourself over and over again, or you feel like you've proven to yourself over and over again, that you're not capable of finishing what you start, or that you're the type of person who starts things and doesn't necessarily finish them. A lot of times, we base our current realities or what we feel like we're capable of on past evidence or past results. If you were bullied as a kid, chances are that you feel like you are mistrustful of people because you're scared you're gonna get bullied again. If you've never been able to lose weight in your entire life, chances are you don't really believe that you're capable of it now because you've proven that you can't, right? And this is where a lot of people get tripped up because we have a hard time realizing or remembering that our past evidence doesn't necessarily dictate our future potential. We are not as stuck in our ways as we feel like we are, and it's so damaging to get caught in that thought process because that basically is saying that you can't grow. And if you think about anyone else, you've seen evidence of people drastically transforming their lives. You've seen evidence of you drastically transforming your life, even if you don't think of it that way. Think about yourself a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Chances are you feel like you barely recognize that person, or at least you feel very drastically different from them. You look totally different, you act totally different. There is evidence over and over again that we are not only capable of change, but we're able to drastically change our whole lives. It's really hard for us to process that, thinking about it day to day, but if you look at longer chunks of time, it becomes so obvious that like little things day to day make these huge impacts on who we are, which is also why committing to something for the long term is so important, because it's so hard for us to even fathom the possible like long-term results of the habits that we are putting into place now. So if you commit, for example, to making YouTube videos for a year, every week, like, you can't even fathom the amount of growth that's going to happen in that amount of time, how much you're not even going to be able to recognize your past self when you look back in a year. One goal that I have had that I'm going to sort of use as an example is to learn how to sing. This was a goal that intimidated the fuck out of me for a really long time because it felt entirely unapproachable. And I sort of was wishy-washy about it for a long period of time. I got like a membership to an online website that had like virtual singing lessons that I would watch sometimes. And sometimes I would stick with it for a week to the point where I felt like I was building consistency, but then it would fall off for 2 months. And it was super unmotivating because I was obviously not making any progress. Fast forward to about a month ago, I went on a tutoring website and I got myself a vocal coach. And in the past 4 weeks, I have made more progress than I made in probably 6 months of me being in that weird like in-between phase where I hadn't fully committed. And I'm gonna use this to illustrate my next point. You need to take the habit, if at all possible, take the habit out of your own hands, or take the goal out of your own hands. Hire a coach. I'm going to stress this into the ground. Hiring somebody makes it feel so much more legitimate. It's like, oh, I'm putting money into this, I'm bringing someone else into this, like this is serious, like I'm doing this. And it is the most relieving feeling in the world to sort of have your progress off your own shoulders, working with someone specifically who's being literally paid to help you reach this goal. What you're really doing here is getting rid of the negotiation process. The amount of mental energy that you have to use when you're debating whether or not you should be pursuing a goal, or you're like debating whether or not you should practice today. Like, we use so much energy being like, where should I put my time? And the more you can remove that decision for yourself and have the things that matter to you already pre-scheduled, the better. This can be as simple as working a habit into your routine, or deciding how frequently you're going to work on a habit, deciding what time you're going to work on a habit. My favorite things about having like an actual coach or teacher is that it creates the same sense of obligation that you have with like work or school. I know I'm going to be embarrassed or feel like I'm not getting the most out of my lessons if I come unprepared. If I was by myself, I could get away with slacking off for weeks, months, and no one would tell me anything. Take this with the YouTube example. If you're committing to uploading every single Saturday, even if no one else is holding you to that standard, that is a deadline. That's giving yourself something to latch onto, and it's taking out the whole, should I make a video? Should I not make a video? No, it's already decided. You are making videos every week, therefore you're going to make a video. Basically just taking the decision out of your own hands. So if you're feeling anxious or insecure or lazy, you don't really have the choice to say, oh, fuck this, because you've already decided that you're going to be doing it, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Again, this also just saves a lot of mental energy. We only have so much willpower in a day. That's also why it's so important not to bite off more than you can chew, because once you run out of that willpower or energy, you're done. And anything you can do to make your goals take less willpower, less energy, to make them more automatic, is only going to benefit you. Another thing that is so important is you cannot be afraid to be bad at things. This is so hard for humans for some reason. We have this fear of trying something and not being good at it right away, or not seeing instantaneous success. And the truth of the matter is that the majority of things that are really worth pursuing take months, if not years, to see results. It's a super delayed gratification thing. And you have to deal with the fact that you're going to be, bad or unsuccessful for months. If you're able to accept this right out the gate, then it's not going to have as much of a damaging psychological impact. You don't need to feel like a failure. You just recognize it's part of the process, that it's going to take some time. Goals should be like a fun and exciting challenge. You shouldn't be intimidated by the amount of progress you have to make, but instead excited about the potential for drastic change. Sort of the last point that I'll make, but it is so important to take yourself seriously. If you aren't taking what you're doing seriously, how can you possibly expect anybody else to? Putting your money into something, putting large chunks of time into something, prioritizing it, is showing that this is something that you believe in. If you believe in manifesting, which maybe you do, super important to just sort of show any higher power that you might believe in, or even just show yourself that you're serious about these goals, that you're going to do whatever it takes to achieve them. The last thing I'm going to say, which I think is just the most important thing ever, and that I am being constantly reminded of, if you wait for the right time, if you wait to be less busy, if you wait till you're more experienced, if you wait till you have more money or resources or a cooler life or better hair, or until you lose 20 pounds, you're never going to fucking do it. You just need to start where you're at with what you have and do the best that you're possibly capable of in this moment, and accept that you might not be where you want to be, but you're moving towards it actively if you are going after your goals. Honestly, the fact that this looks even remotely decent is a miracle, because I'm functioning with a very small, very dirty mirror right now. Mascara requires extreme concentration. Okay, cool. I think I'm done, both with my face and with what I wanted to say. I hope this video was helpful to you in some way. It was very fun for me to talk about. I definitely want to make more self-improvement type videos in the future, because it is something that I am so passionate about, and that I feel like I'm finally making progress with after literally years of starting and stopping and struggling. So hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.